Could you guys imagine an ocean without any coral reefs and just miles and miles of sand and nothing else at the bottom of the ocean? Well, by the year 2050, this could be a reality for our oceans, and this is all due to coral bleaching. And a lot of people aren't aware of the issue of coral bleaching because it is an environmental issue that happens underneath the water, so a lot of us aren't aware of it. But as a scuba diver, I have seen it happen over the years and seen it progress into a worse and worse thing. And so today, I'm here to talk to you guys about what coral bleaching is, how it affects our oceans, and how we can fix it. So to start off, we're going to talk about why coral is important, because a lot of people don't realize that it is a living organism and it is a staple for our oceans. Stated by the National Coral Reef Institute, coral is home to 25% of marine species. That includes fish, crustaceans, microorganisms. Without coral, all of those would not be alive. Coral also helps to protect shorelines, support fishing industries, and it also provides tourist dollars through excursions such as snorkeling, scuba diving, boating, all those types of things, you name it. So let's get down to it. What exactly is coral bleaching? Well, the National Ocean Service says that there are 3 different types of coral. There's a healthy coral, which have a symbiotic relationship between the polyps, which are those little teeny things on the coral that are actually alive, and these zooxanthellae, which is a fancy word for microscopic algae. And these microscopic algae work together with the polyps to provide them food, nutrients, energy, and up to 90% of its energy. They also provide the coral with their bright pigments that you see all over. Well, when a coral becomes bleached, that's because these algae have left, meaning their pigment has left as well, leaving them white, hence the term bleached. And just because a coral is bleached doesn't necessarily mean it's dead. When a coral becomes dead, you'll see all this green, slimy looking algae on the outsides of it, and that's because it's no longer alive. So how does coral bleaching affect our oceans? Well, because it's been such a growing issue underneath the surface, there's 29 to 50% of Australia's Great Barrier Reef is completely dead. That means that there's only half that's still alive, and part of that could still be possibly bleached. There's also 47% suffering in Hawaii, and 10% of that is dead as well. Most of Japan's best reefs are completely gone due to coral bleaching as well. And in the Caribbean, the hard coral cover has declined by 80%. And personally, I've seen this over the years as I've gone to the Caribbean many times, and each time I go back, it seems to me that there is little less coral every time. So why does coral bleaching happen? Well, according to the Nature Conservancy, there are a few reasons that coral bleaching happens. It can be due to solar radiation, increasing levels of light, reduction in water quality, human interference, which is a huge one because a lot of times when you go to the beach or you do boating stuff, humans don't realize the impacts that they have on coral. But the main coral stressor that creates the most coral bleaching is global warming. And global warming is the biggest stressor, not because it doesn't only just increase our air temperatures around the world, but global warming has been heating up our oceans. And when this happens, the thermal heating in the ocean, the coral don't like that. And so what happens is those coral polyps that are supposed to have that symbiotic relationship with the algae, they expel that algae out and they push it out, which is why it happens to be bleached. And the algae don't like this, and it makes the coral starve, hungry, and they're less able to fight off diseases. And the other reason why global warming is one of the largest stressors is it's because it is one of the only factors that is able to create mass bleaching events. Now, a mass bleaching event is a mass bleaching event is when there's large amounts of coral bleaching all throughout the oceans, all over the world. And one of the biggest ones that was the most destructive was because of El Nino, which happened very recently from 2014 to 2017. And over 70% of the coral reefs worldwide have become damaged, which means that there's only 30% left that are pristine, healthy, and in their normal condition that they should be. And if you see in this picture of El Nino and the effects of it, you'll see at the beginning of the storm, a lot of it was under no stress or just watch level, but as the storm increased over the 3 years, a majority of the ocean increased to alert level 2, which is the highest level of coral bleaching and alert level. So how can we stop coral bleaching? Well, a lot of times humans will think that there's not much that we can do because there necessarily isn't, but there's a lot of nonprofits and organizations out there that help to regenerate coral. And the Journal of Experimental Marine Biology and Ecology states that one of the ways we can do this is through artificial coral reefs for regeneration. And this is when you take some form of structure or heavy, durable material and you make a structure out of it that's kind of similar to coral. You put it underneath the water, and that allows for algae and new things to start growing on it and regenerate that reef that was there that died. And I got to experience this hands-on when I went to Nicaragua a few summers ago. In the dive shop I was diving with, one of the dive masters had a non-profit where they would make a whole bunch of artificial coral reefs out of PVC pipe, and then they would go out and place it in the water, and they would monitor the levels of regeneration because the reef was so fished out, and I thought this was super cool and interesting. Now, besides artificial coral reefs, a lot of it is just being careful when you're in the ocean and underwater. With divers, a lot of times inexperienced divers will kick coral and hit it and damage it, not realizing what they're doing, and this just comes with experience and learning to be careful. There are also these things called scuba pointers, which me and my mom personally love and find to be super helpful to keep you from damaging coral. Is you can stick them in the sand to keep your body from swaying back and forth. You can put them into the reef in like a place where it's safe to keep your body from getting pushed against it when there's current. And they're very helpful to keeping the reefs healthy and in pristine condition. So going forward with all this information, coral reefs are a staple to the ocean, and without coral reefs there wouldn't be fish or any beauty to admire. And as you can see in these pictures, this is one of the reefs in the Caribbean that was pretty bare, and there's a lot of trash on it as well. And there's not many things that humans can do to help the entire issue of coral bleaching, but the little things we can do are the things that stop global warming, which is the main cause of it. So just doing the little things like reducing your carbon footprint, recycling, all those types of things, because our ocean isn't recyclable, so we have to take care of it now before it's too late.